Alright, let's do a fun one today. The right wing has a monopoly on the male influencer market right now, and it's scooping up a whole generation of young males, and I get it. It's shiny, it can be aspirational, and in some cases, it reinforces beliefs that have kind of been shamed for a very long time. In short, it makes young males feel okay about who they are and who they want to be. As a young male, you will have these evolutionary instincts to make you want to be rich and strong and powerful and sleep with whoever you want. What a life, eh? Right-wing media is fun. It's basically like a news website or a newspaper that's just filled with entertaining headlines and none of the mind-numbing details. Whereas left-wing media, it's heavy, it's boring, and it's why making left-wing content is not very desirable. It's a nightmare. You've got to fact-check what you say, and no matter what, you're going to get attacked by both sides, pointing out every single inaccuracy, or just flat-out disagreeing because the confirmation bias that people are looking for isn't found. It's why my channel is struggling to find its tone. I can't decide whether I want to lean into the sensationalism or if I want to hold myself accountable. And there's really nothing for me to gain financially from leaning left on this channel because YouTube and TikTok and others, they tell a story in their analytics. And it's why you see influencers lean more and more right as time goes by. You only have to look at Joe Rogan's political arc from Bernie Sanders to endorsing Donald Trump. He knows where his money is coming from. So what do we need to do to change that, to give both sides a chance? It's a hard one to answer because equality and being accountable the way the left wing tries to be, it's not entertaining at all. Yes, comedians and late night hosts, they tend to lean left, and they are funny, but they've completely lost the conservative viewership, and their jokes are targeted just to make liberal people feel better. And mainstream media as a whole is accountable to truth, or most of it, whereas right-wing podcasts and influencers can really lean into that sensationalism, and this appeals to younger audiences, and younger audiences are seemingly an infinite source of new minds to mold. You don't have to back it up with facts, so it's way more appealing for the younger mind. So let's dive in and focus on a big one. Andrew Tate. What makes Andrew Tate appealing to young men? Why is aggression a desired trait? Why is the seemingly toxic nature a desired trait? Surely we have evolved as a species beyond being big and strong and being able to protect the people around us. That's not really needed in human beings anymore. But it would seem that our instincts and sexual attraction hasn't quite caught up to where we are as a society, because the big and the strong, they're still desirable traits. So there are positives to be gained by being big and strong and dominant. So if you'll indulge me, I'm going to enjoy a little bit of that aggression right now. Pretty sure I've gone well past the 7 seconds where I'm not allowed to swear. So Andrew Tate, you can on my big and when you're done, maybe you can look up at me and I can teach you one or two things about what it is to be a real man. Because all I see when I look at Andrew Tate is an insecure little and there are hundreds of lies and crimes that I can use right now to make my case. But I've learned that the more accusations you throw, the less that stick. And people generally can't retain it when there's lots to think about. So I'm going to focus on one tiny little detail that speaks to exactly who Andrew Tate is. And of all the things he's done, this one's going to cut him the deepest. Andrew Tate keeps telling the same story about how when he was 12, he got a bad haircut. And his father kind of got a little bit annoyed by the fact that they were worried about this haircut and told him that a haircut means nothing. Nobody cares about a man's hair and that he should just shave it all off. And he's regurgitated that story on quite a few different podcasts and interviews about how that moment kind of traumatized him as a 12-year-old and it made his parents get into an argument. And he insists that if he wants to, he can grow a full head of hair. He shaves it by choice. I can't decide which goes against the Andrew Tate brand more. The obvious daddy issues or the insecurity over going bald. Because dude, you're bald. Own it. If you claim to be this big confident man, top G, a real G, then you legitimately would not care that you're going bald. It doesn't matter. It doesn't speak to who you are, but you do care. And that's fine too. It's okay to be insecure. It's fine. It's not a bad trait. In fact, admitting that you have insecurities, admitting that you get afraid sometimes, but you face those fears anyway, that's real courage. That's what makes a man a man. But that's still unfair because women face courage too every day, more than we have to as men, because they have to deal with us. So it's quite clear to me that your daddy messed you up. Own it. Look at Terry Crews. That is a man. He has got some serious daddy issues. So if anyone wants to idolize someone with daddy issues, idolize Terry Crews. He owns his flaws. He owns his mistakes. If anyone should be leading a generation of young men, it's Terry Crews. But instead, Andrew Tate has got this generation of males by the balls, and he preys on their insecurities, and he just extracts as much money as he can from them along the way. Is this really who we consider to be aspirational? Is this who we want to be? Because show me in all of his content where he looks like he's happy and secure. Which part suggests that he really enjoys his life? All I see is an angry little He's just a little in a cycle of self-fulfilling pain. He won't treat women the right way because he's hurting. Don't ask me what caused it, but we can all see it. He's the same kind of damaged as the people he's manipulating. He's morally bankrupt, but he's turned that in a way to make money off other people that are just as damaged as he is. And I just want to point out that he has admitted to spending hours a day in sexual chats with other men, milking them dry. If that's success, I'm going to stick with what I've got. And if me going after Andrew Tate is making you angry, then good. It's kind of been my goal here. I want you to question, why are you defending Andrew Tate in your mind right now or in the comments? If you really believe in this man, if you really believe in Andrew Tate's pyramid scheme, go for it, but stop promoting him and start promoting yourself. Find people to pay you $50 to promote your content and put yourself as the top G in that pyramid. Because right now you're a slave in Andrew Tate's matrix, which is making him richer, not you. And believe it or not, I'm here to help you. I'm not going to ask you to promote my content. I'm not going to ask you to like, subscribe, or comment. And I absolutely will not be asking you to join my university, because we're pretty passionate about remaining uneducated on this channel. I'm here to try and help you, because here's the reality. What we are doing right now is changing the future. And idolizing false prophets is having a devastating effect on that future. In Western civilization, and America in particular, we have a buffer. We have credit in the bank. We have a competent workforce. We have an infrastructure that can get us through the next 20 or 30 years. We have time up our sleeves before the cracks start to become noticeable. So things are going to look and feel like they always have in our day-to-day lives. But life at 40 or 50, depending on how old you are, is going to look completely different from how you imagine it. A lot of young men have this expectation that they're going to grow up and find themselves in a relationship. But I would argue that the divide between left and right is actually a divide between male and female right now. So that relationship that you expect, it's going to be harder to find because there are political divides that are separating males and females right now. And they're not going to be nearly as willing to settle down with the young men of today as they were with the men of yesteryear. And political views are a lot more important than you think they are. Relationships can be based on common ground and shared values, and that split is a problem. So right now it might feel good you're feeling alpha amongst the boys, but statistically it's not in your best interests in finding a long-term sexual partner to be top G. Some of you though will go on and find a partner, and you'll respect women, you'll value women, and you'll go on and have children. But the future for those kids is no longer going to be as prosperous as the kids that have come beforehand. People like you, people like me. And the pandemic and inflation, it showed us just how fragile our economy actually is. We want to blame everything on the pandemic alone, but that's wrong. We were wrong. We're in this situation because the game isn't played fairly. The pieces don't go back in the box, so we're not all starting with an equal chance. Transfer of wealth in this game has only been heading one way, and the debt heads the other way. The rich get richer, the money flows to those with savings, and the debt, it falls back to those that already have debt. It flows to the young. Think of this, right? When COVID hit, the stock market crashed. And those that were in a position, they bought stocks when those prices were super low. And while that crash was happening, enormous debt was created by governments when they were handing out financial relief. That money went back into the economy, sent the stocks flying back up again. So the rich who bought the stocks at a low price are suddenly sitting on all these high value stocks again. And we, the next generation, the younger, the people with no savings, no houses, no money in the bank, they will spend the rest of their lives paying back that government debt, which benefited only those with money. So ignoring personal wealth and personal debt, the overall debt is growing. Republican policies are forecast to significantly add to that debt. Once again, young people will be left holding that bill when it all falls apart. The current house prices are the start of you repaying that debt. You are far less likely to ever enter the housing market than the generations before you. Yes, your parents may be able to help you. You may inherit a house from your parents one day, but how many siblings do you have? Because you may inherit one house, but if there's two of you or three of you, that one house doesn't turn into two houses or three houses. And what about your kids? What will you have to pass on to them? Because if you don't have a house now, and you won't have a house when you hit your parents' age, what will you have to help your kids when they come to you asking for help for their own house? The game is drawing closer to its end, and it's clearly falling apart. Are you winning, or is your favorite influencer winning? How did he win? Did he grow your wealth, or did he grow his wealth? That's the question I'm going to leave you with. Until next time, take care. Alright, now it's time to tell you what I really said about Andrew Tate. You can sleep on my big fold-out couch. Your little boy, angry little boy. He's just a little caught in a cycle of self-fulfilling pain.